look at the issue of debt sustainability, and we understand that right now public debt has actually broke the ceiling like a few years ago, and right now it stands at 12 trillion shillings. So from your perspective, what do you think about our current public debt?
Diana, thank you for coming over and thank you for the question. This has been my position the last 4 years, that public debt is not sustainable. It's currently, to correct you, 12.8. So we're heading towards 13 trillion. When William Ruto took power, it was 9 trillion. So in these 4 years, he has already done 4. So he's doing 1 trillion a year. It is not sustainable. And how you judge sustainability is not like what I saw the minister trying to articulate recently. He was trying to put it to net present value in relation to GDP. Yeah, he's trying to give us complex language for nothing. They're already beyond the GDP ceiling that had been set by Parliament. Parliament said at 55, I think they are now at 72. But to be sincere with you, they are misleading us. When they give examples of Japan, Sijui America, debt to GDP ratio, this is just fake. They want to send you with complicated situations so you cannot answer, you cannot see the problem. Our problem, and the problem anywhere in the world, what they judge is how much revenue, our tax revenue, goes towards payment of debt. In our laws, our constitution, hii katiba, which we must linda properly, hii katiba, it is clear that it is our tax revenue that pays debt, right? It pays all recurrent expenditure, and debt is an item of recurrent. Now, if you are getting to particular percentages of that debt, of that tax revenue going to debt, that is how you judge sustainability. So just like your home, if you're earning 10,000 shillings and 5,000 is going to debt, how are you living on 5,000? You see, that's 50%. Currently, we are at 91%. So 90 shillings of every 100 is going to debt. So we have 10 shillings, 9 shillings, 10 shillings to pay for all other recurrent expenditure. That is for the salaries of government, for operations, all these jet flights you see Ruto taking, petrol in police cars, right? The counties, because that's another first charge, right? County money, pensions, they all come from that. So you end up borrowing to pay recurrent expenditure because the 9 shillings that's left of 100 is not enough.
I understand that in this coming financial year, Ruto's administration is looking at raising 1 trillion from the local economy. So perhaps if you could speak to us, what gives this administration the confidence to think that they can raise this kind of money locally, and if at all they're able to do this, what would be the trickle-down effect to the local economy, especially with regards to crowding out funding from commercial banks?
Diana, I would like you to firstly ask, what is that 1 trillion for? Our laws tell us what our financial controls are, right? Our debt must be anchored in our laws. And the debt should be here. These are called the revenue estimates. Article 220 of this constitution put our budget in terms of definition. It is these, which are the estimates of revenue, and you can see it is revenue, tax revenue, grants and loans. It must be here, passed by Parliament. And this is the expenditure. Can you see? And it must balance. Are we on the same page? What is here must be here. That 1 trillion should be here and should be here on the expenditure side. So if you can show me where it is here, because what I have here on page 24, where they put net domestic loans, is blank. And if you can show me where it is here in expenditure, I'll agree with you. And remember, it must be on expenditure development, because that's the law here. Right? You're borrowing for development. So show us. I can show you lines here of foreign borrowing. Okay? These ones that I've tagged. And all these are foreign donors at very low concessionary rates. So they'll tell you, let's say the Norwegian government is funding a borehole in Kitui. It's here, right? DFID is funding a road. They tell you what amount. Like on this page, they're supporting something like 238 million. World Bank is here, what they're supporting. And these are very concessionary loans. So show me where this is, where domestic debt is here.
So what does that say?
That tells you that domestic debt is not anchored in our laws. It is not passed by parliament. And as I said recently, buyer beware. That is part of odious debt. And when it's odious debt, Kenyans will not pay it because we are anchored by this. This is where our sovereignty is anchored. Mr. John Bundy was trying to say, I'm saying we're going to default. I'm not talking about default. I'm talking about not paying illegal debt. That is cancellation of illegal debt. Is he proposing that we pay what entered people's pockets? I mean, he's a joker. We are not going to do it.
The reasoning is coming from because...
No, he's being given a script. Unfortunately, John is not a fool. He's a clever fellow. But he's slowly displaying himself as somebody captured by the mandarins. There's a mafia mandarin in that treasury. He's captured, and he's become their spokesman, right? If John wants a conversation, he should come, we educate him how to deal with those mandarins. We know more than them. That's why they will not even speak. They use him as a spokesman. He should ask himself why the previous minister never talked. Because you start realizing what is inside there, right?
Yes.
This is cooked, okay?
Right.
It is cooked. I am saying we are going to cancel that debt, right?
All right.
Because it is not anchored here. I'm not talking about default. No. Then he says, I don't know the consequences. What do you mean I don't know the consequences? I'll tell you the consequences in 2027, 2028. That means 2.8 trillion doesn't go out to debt. 2.8? That is more than enough to cater for all our needs. We don't need to borrow again. Overseas, domestic, and Kenyans can get huge benefit.
We've also seen on the floor of the House, his supporters of the UDA and Kenya Kwanza, they are very adamant in supporting Ruto's rationale behind these borrowing. So what do you think is going on?
Ruto's behind, which borrowing? You see, let them show us where it is. Okay, these parliamentarians are really starting to, I think they have asked Kenyans, especially since 2024. So I don't know why you are referring to them. Do Kenyans really take that parliament seriously in relation to tax laws or the economy? I don't think so, right? He has borrowed 4 trillion in the last 4 years. The law says you borrow for development. Can you show us what 4 trillion has done in development for it to be legal? Because they try to say that it's legal. Show us what 4 trillion has done in development.
So
Please.
if we cannot...
If he can show us, we will say hallelujah.
All right. So if we cannot trust these lawmakers in the National Assembly, and we've seen them aggressively supporting Ruto's aspirations, and also, should we then, as Kenyans, should we be concerned if these are the people we rely on, more like to say the back ends with them? Should we be concerned?
Diana, we should be extremely concerned. In fact, we must vote them all out. Anyone who has been for more taxes must get out of our way next year. We have a year. Anyone who voted for increase of our taxes should be forgiven kabisa, out. And remember, I have always held the view that in 2024, when they didn't listen to Kenyans, they cancelled themselves out as an institution. So just ignore them, Diana, really. They are just about pain.
Still on the issue of debt, and especially externally, we've seen the government is in a quest to borrow externally, and is rather modifying, rather seeking new avenues like the samurai bomb.
These are just a big joke. All right, please, this government is a big joke. They have been talking about samurai bonds since 2023. We've never seen them. Sijui what bond, sijui what bond, sijui what bond. Recently, even this minister Said they're getting World Bank emergency money. What has World Bank done? See, they said no. Anybody who's loaning a country looks at the balance sheet. Who's going to loan a country where 90% of your revenue is going to debt? We are bankrupt. Anybody looking at the books. In fact, the only way somebody will give us money is not on the basis of loans. They'll give us money on the basis that we are such a basket case, that let's just give to them because they are dying. Yeah. There's nothing else here. Yeah. The numbers are clear. Yeah. So Kenyans need to understand one thing, Diana, right? That when a government is bankrupt, who is the government? It is you and I. We are the government, right? It comes to bankrupt us. How do we have money and they don't? Because what are the catalysts for growth in a country? Who develops a country? One tool is government, the other is the private sector. Government has no money to develop, right? And it's taking all our taxes, all our monies, 60%, by the way, is what we're now on average paying towards taxes of our income. And then it's coming to our banks and taking the money we could use to do some biashara, to grow enterprise, to expand our businesses, okay? And raising interest rates. So that money is too expensive. You can't come out on the market. There's no purchasing power. So the private sector is not fueling growth, neither is government. So you continually slide.
You had made your reservations concerning the budget or the finance bill, and as soon as yesterday, the bill was passed and it's waiting the presidential assent. So,
are you surprised? I mean, this parliament, and you heard, I think it was a majority leader, who goes to say, even after we rejected it in 2024, even after they killed over 60 young people here, that they had the audacity to not still listen to us and take amendments that were in the finance bill into various tax laws after that. December that year, after killing people here in June, July, and up to August, up to Nane, I think they killed people here. I was arrested, I know, on Nane. Okay? So, they have the audacity to tell us, and he said in Parliament the other day, it's never been so clear, that even though you rejected the finance bill 2024, right? In December, we brought back 4 bills, amending various acts, bringing back the finance bill through those acts. Now, that tells you they are not listening to us. The legislature is supposed to listen to us. They are an oversight of the executive, not an appendage of the executive. If we say we don't want more taxes, they should be championing our cause, our voice. But they are championing Ruto's voice. So are you surprised with that vote yesterday? Yeah, I don't think anybody is. And I don't really think we care anymore. Okay? Action is not going to be done in Parliament. We know the problems there, even those who support what we are saying have got. Right? Action is only being taken outside. All right? That is what William Ruto will listen to. Action is only going to be taken at the ballot next year when we boot out all these characters. Okay? Okay? Yes. That is where action is going to be.
So another thing, still on that, these budget that was tabled, 4.8 trillion. This one definitely puts a strain on most Kenyans. So, and I also saw you made your reservations concerning the people's budget by the opposition. So, in your view, what would be the alternative?
The alternative budget.
For the Mwananchi?
The alternative budget is you can't do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. That's the problem I had with the opposition's budget. It is no different to William Ruto's. Okay? And I say categorically, when I look at the opposition budget, I'm shocked. I don't think they factored in debt payment in their numbers. You are not going to be able to lower tax. By next year, 100% of our tax revenue is going to payment of debt. So what are you lowering? Where are you going to get the balance from? More borrowing. They even propose borrowing. And it's not even going to be enough what they're proposing. Okay? My alternate budget and that of Safina's is very clear. We shall not pay the debt. The debt we have today, and we've done an audit over and over, and we're doing every year, is not legal to Kenyans. So in government, the Safina government will immediately suspend all debt payments so that now we do an official debt audit for Kenyans. Isije munasema ni audit ya Jimi, inakuwa audit ya serikali. So we suspend payment. All right? When we suspend payment, anybody, anyone who feels he's a creditor will give us the time. Don't expect a new government to take on something that is odious. If it is not in our laws, it is not the responsibility of that government to take it on. What is there? We say, sir. We estimate that within 3 to 6 months, right, we'll have an audit to show Kenyans. And I tell you this, Diana, because it's important to recognize Ruto promised an audit. Have you ever seen one? Honorable John Bandi promised an audit when he became CS. Have you seen one? No. If you look at the 10-point agenda, the MOU in broad-based, debt is there. Nobody wants to do an audit. So we shall do an audit. So we suspended payments. We believe it is all odious. We wait to be proven wrong, in a sense. So we that year will have a saving of 2.8 trillion. So our budget is this, that year, nobody shall ever reach into their pocket to pay for public primary school, public high school, right? And any Tibet program. We've estimated that to be about 300 billion shillings. We're rounding off. Okay? Remember, we have 2.8. Count. 2.8 minus 300, you have 2.5. Correct? We have seen the costings, and we'll say that they must be fairly accurate, the ones of SHA. That universal health care costs 180 billion. Round it off to 200. Okay? Nobody shall pay for SHA or SHIF, whatever they want to call it, anymore. So your ID guarantees you medical care. You're paying for it from your taxes. Okay? There's no other levy. That is another 200. What are you left with? 2.3. Correct? Then we looked at VAT. VAT collects roughly 420, 430 billion. I'm even saying, let's say it takes 500 billion, right? VAT is one of the biggest causes of the high cost of living. All right? So we are saying we will scrap it. We'll scrap VAT and introduce a 5% sales tax, which gives back into the pocket of Kenyans 11%. Okay? Right? Now, that effectively removes something like 300 billion, right, from the Kenya Revenue Authority, that Kenyans remain within their pocket. So we are now at 2 trillion. Now, I want you to imagine that is 800 billion that Kenyans are now taking out, that now remains in your pocket. So we become what is called a true sovereign state, right? We need nobody. We don't need to borrow, right? We are self-sufficient. And that catalyzes one other thing. We don't borrow from the domestic market, which means, Diana, you can now go for a mortgage for your house. Watch a here affordable housing nonsense business here. You go for a mortgage for the property you want at probably a single-digit rate of maybe 3%. You're paying over, let's say, 20, 25 years. Okay? Mortgages in this country, do you know how many mortgages we have? 28,000. It's that low.
On the issue that I raised earlier, so we've seen opposition, like a former deputy president, and I've also seen a section of lawmakers saying that Perhaps these are the government's attempt to draw from the consolidated fund, like 10 days to the close of this financial year, is perhaps a ploy to loot and fund elections. What's your take on that?
Let us not be caught into thinking in a very narrow way. Impunity began a long time ago. It was even being carried out when the former deputy president was the deputy president. So let us be honest. Okay? You've heard of this thing called confidential money. Was he not part of confidential money? All these people, what is confidential money? It just means that you don't account for it. Okay? So you imagine our taxes, that when the rais tell you that you have 1 billion shillings to spend a year how you want. Would you like that as a person? No, I mean, can you imagine what's been going on here? And that parliament has been approving that expenditure.
Yes.
So impunity has been there. The scale is nothing like what he's saying. The scale is so big. They want us to look at 1 billion, 2 billion shillings so that we don't look at the trillions that have been looted from this economy, that we are paying for every year. Okay? We have a very big problem. Let us not think just little here about what William Ruto is doing. Yes, he's not doing us any good service. That is clear. But let's look at the whole picture. Let's look at this from a bird's eye point of view. What is the biggest expenditure? It's not those little amounts.
Yeah.
This year it is 2.4 trillion. If you can show me theft of 2.4 trillion, I'll say hallelujah.
Yes.
That is our biggest problem. And it is theft.
So doesn't the former DP have moral authority then to speak to such issues?
You know, where was he during the finance bill of 2024? Was he deputy president? The finance bill goes through cabinet, correct?
Yes, it does.
So he must have approved it. I never heard his voice against it until he was kicked out. In fact, when he was inside, I remember he was a big supporter of the finance bill 2024, 2023 and 2024. Now, I believe anybody who supported the 2024 finance bill, even after the outcry of Kenyans and the killings of our sons and daughters, has no moral authority. No moral authority to tell us where we are going. Yes.
So he's on
you are cancelled by Kenyans. And you need to understand this is a turning curve. The pendulum has shifted. Yeah? Kenyans actually do want their true sovereignty. Right? This thing has shifted. Don't try and bring back old methods of politics to sustain your position.
Okay.
All right, legacy politics. I am not for those legacy politics. This is not a tribal issue, for example, to me. It is a Kenyan issue. Right? All of us, Diana, are Kenyans.
Yes.
Damu moja. Okay? Nobody chose their tribe. Nobody chose their gender. Correct? Did we choose to be born in Kenya? Hii yote ni ya Mungu. Correct? So those are not the things you happen. You don't happen those things. You happen other things.
All right.
Okay? Are we on the same page?
Yes.
Yes. You happen ideas, creativity, innovative. Get us out of this problem. I don't hear them talk about debt. Whoever becomes president, because that is, God is the one who can see. All right? Is going to face the same problem William Ruto is facing today, that he has no money. So how are you going to solve it? Don't tell us you're going to stop the theft. Quantify the theft then. You don't remove this debt and you don't quantify it as theft. You're going nowhere. You're lying to Kenyans again.
All right.
Yes.
So,
Also tell me that Deputy President, was they part of the Hustler team?
yes.
Have you ever quoted him saying that Mama Mboga will get money? Did he used to say that himself, or was he just Ruto?
No, he used to.
He used to. I can't remember. So did Mama Mboga get money in the 2 years he was there? Okay, so this is an arena. Let's be serious. As all Kenyans, including him, let us be very serious. This is people's lives. Okay? Let's not try and put it as something else. These are Kenyan lives we are talking about. I'm not going to go into this election lying that things are rosy. They are not. I have a how-to remove their problems. There are those who think I'm radical. There are those who think I'm extreme. There are those who thought, fine. Go and vote for the others. If you think they're the ones who have a solution for you, good luck. We'll be right back here.
Okay.
Right? If you want to keep paying school fees, primary and high school, and Tibet, Ruto is there. Correct? If you keep wanting to pay SHA, Ruto is there. If you keep wanting to pay VAT and more taxes, Ruto is there. If you don't want to pay those things, Jimmy is here. Right?
Yes.
If you think I have radical ideas, yes. This is a radical moment.
Okay. And we're moving strong into the election season. And I just want to pick your mind with regards to political alignment. You've clearly stated that you're neither two-term nor one.
I'm no term.
No term.
Okay?
Interesting.
Yes.
What,
I even think, honestly, you know, if you see Western democracies, right? When a leader fails, they leave office. They say, really, I've been unable to solve your problem. Maybe somebody else has got greater ideas than me. Right? Why is it so hard for our people to do that? As far as I'm concerned, William Ruto got cancelled when we rejected the Finance Bill 2024. He got cancelled. And he got rejected. Because once people say no to a government's ability to get taxes from you, they are telling you, we don't want you. If this was a Western democracy, all right, that government normally resigns and seeks a fresh mandate to come in. Okay? And it's happened even in the recent past, even in the UK. You had a prime minister who took a budget and people rejected her tax measures and she quit. All right? So it happens. So William Ruto, really, okay, you're trying to hang on, okay, forcing yourself on us. And this is where I criticize my friends in the opposition. You choose to play in his corner with legacy politics of tribe, sijui nini. No. He is a better master of it than any of you can be. Come to the issues that have defeated him. All right? Not tribal conglomerations. Come to the issues that unite all of us. The pain we are feeling in our pocket. Right? The lack of opportunities for our children, jobs. Right? Our lack of economic sovereignty. Okay? The despair that is coming out of it, from mental illness to suicides, to depression, to femicide. You know, those are the biggest catalysts is the economy. You can draw all the ills. Come to this arena, and we'll all defeat him. But you go in his politics, your tribe, nanini, you're spoiling it. You're giving him life. Here's where he was conquered.
The idea, rather, even as you set the stage for your political aspirations come next year, you're basically saying that in order to unseat Ruto, who you say was cancelled in 2024, essentially opposition needs to go the other way and not follow into legacy politics, playing tribal politics and just trying to do smear campaign.
Yes, yes. You see, Diana, Kenyans are very switched on voters. And if you look at any narrative that began when multipartyism started, because do you know we had our first presidential election only in 1992? Okay? Before that, we never had. Jomo was never elected in a popular vote. Okay? In 1992, if you look at the people who were advocating for multipartyism, yes, there was Moi must go, but they had a four. Let the people decide. Remove 2A from the Constitution of Kenya. And people saw the four. That means I decide who I want. Go through every single narrative at elections. There's the anti and the for. This current government got in saying dynasty, that's the against, and for the hustler. And it was a class war, right? The have-nots against the haves, and the have-nots are more. So they were put together in a tribe called have-nots, not your tribe of birth. It was creative.
Right.
Now, when you just go and you say one term, then what? Diana, then what? Where's the hope narrative?
And as we conclude, perhaps speak to us about these opposition, the united opposition. We have now two factions of ODM. Do you see any of these splinter groups coming together even as we move towards the elections? In your opinion?
Diana, you sound like you come from the narrative it must be a two-horse race. Why do people need to come together? You see, this katiba, which we must linda, hii ndio tunalinda katiba sisi. Tulinda hii katiba, it already has the two-horse race in mind. Okay? He says if nobody gets 50 plus 1, the top two go on. Within 3 months, you must have an election. So this one unites us. Why are you worried about unity? Let everyone get their turf. Wakipata their turf. We all have one basic enemy, those who are on this side. We are against Ruto. Okay? Everyone wants to get their turf. It's taking votes away from him. Okay? Yeah. The Constitution envisages if nobody gets 50 plus 1, the top two. I even doubt Ruto will be one of the two. So, tunacheka. Huyu hana kura.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Yes.
Asante sana, Diana. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.